Hi, I'm Abby Jennings, and here's my historical review of the movie 9 to 5. Okay, so 9 to 5. We have on the left Jane Fonda, who plays Judy. The middle, we have Lily Tomlin playing Violet, and on the right, Dolly Parton playing Doralee. So three women work at this big office building, and they really hate their boss. He's really rude. He's very sexist. And so one day, as they get high, and they have all these fantasies of how they could get rid of him, take him out, kill him, whatever, you name it. And then the next day, in the middle of Violet, she accidentally pours rat poison in his coffee. So through like a mix-up of events, he finds out that she accidentally did that, even though no harm came to him because he fell on his head and he got sent to the hospital, but they really thought it was the rat poison, but really wasn't. But he found out, so they panic because he knows, and they think they're going to get in trouble. So they capture him. And then as they have him captured, they change the office and put all these great programs in and really treat everyone really fairly, increase pay, everyone loves them. And then when the boss finally escapes at the end, he's going to fire him, send him to jail, and then the CEO comes and says, I love what you've been doing. So he's like, okay, well, I have to thank them. So they don't get thrown in jail, everything turns out fine. So it's a funny comedy with some underlying tones of how bosses were at this time. So what was going on at this time? This movie was released on December 19th, 1980. So we're coming at the end of 2 decades really focusing on women's equality with all those Equal Pay Act, Civil Rights Act, Title VIII, Pregnancy Discrimination Act, sexual harassment becoming like a bigger deal, like saying that it violates Title VIII. And so there's been a lot of movements pushing forward on getting women to have more of a safer work environment. And then, and just a fun fact, in 1960, 27% were working outside the home. In 1980, 54%. So it kind of shows how many more women, and that's why these things were being put in place. Some references to the workplace environment at this time. When Judy first starts, because that's the point of the movie, she's starting the job and kind of introducing it, and she is recently divorced. Her husband left her for a secretary. So it's kind of funny because it's almost like everyone's more sad about her having to work and not be a housewife anymore than her going through a divorce. And then Violet, at one point in the movie, is really expecting this promotion, but she doesn't end up getting it because she's a woman. And the boss basically tells her so. And she has way more experience. She's worked at the company 15 years. And really, it's just because she's a woman that she didn't get it. And then another reference, a woman is fired for talking about wages with Judy. And someone hears about it, the boss hears about it, fired. Because they don't want them to think about how much they're making, how little they're making. So some reviews for 9 to 5. The New York Times, Vincent Canby did a review in 1980 when it first premiered and said that the reason why it has big laughs is because for the sexism jokes, which I thought was kind of interesting because he says other feminist comedies as well. So I think that's kind of interesting. And he does mention that the funniest person is the boss, the man, which all those women do have comedy rights in their own right. So it is, I thought that was kind of funny. And Miss Magazine, which is a feminist magazine, did give it good reviews, as you can see from the picture on the front. On the magazine front. So I just thought that was kind of interesting, 2 kind of different views of who was watching it at that time. Patricia Resnick was the screenwriter. She is known for being into women's equality, women's rights, equal rights for everyone. In an interview she did with Ask Ellen in 2008, she does talk about how relevant the movie still is, that this really was a thing on sexual harassment, that it still exists, that 9 to 5 is still relevant, and it's not surprising that she wrote this play when she is such a feminist person. Jane Fonda is known to be a feminist. She's done a lot in starting the Women's Media Center, which focuses on women getting in the media, and she's done a lot with women's rights as well, so it's not surprising either that she was in this movie. Dolly Parton also has had some praise for being really focused on women and womanhood, and her song in 1968, Just Because I'm a Woman, kind of focuses on the discrimination that women face. So it just makes sense that all of these women really were in this movie because they fought for what they believed in, and they believed in what 9 to 5 was all about, and that discrimination in the workplace was real and even still is today. Thanks for listening.